better. Um, yeah, it's Jimmy here from My Online Guy, and I just wanted to get on quickly. This is about as impromptu as it gets, and I promised the team I wouldn't do a video this week because we're trying to do a bit of administration and stuff this week, and we don't want to inundate ourselves with work. But I couldn't help myself. I had to get on here and talk about this. I like to talk about my thoughts as I have them because ultimately, part of the reason I'm doing these recordings is I want to have a bit of a document, living and breathing document of our growth as an agency. I've got videos from back when we first started, when it was just myself, and I've got videos today. And it's always good to go back and just see how much I've grown as a person, as a business owner, a person, as a team member, as a father. It's always good to go back and look at that stuff. So this is a little bit of a journal almost. But today I'm going to go live on Instagram as well. So just bear with me for a sec because I think this is definitely worthwhile having a chat about. And I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome, and just imposter syndrome and how we all suffer from it, and just a take that I got on imposter syndrome today. So just give me a sec, guys. I'm just going to do a live as well. Imposter. So how's everyone's holidays been while I'm doing this? Hopefully everyone's had a great holiday. And like I said, this is very impromptu today, so just bear with me. I had an amazing holiday. My wife and I and the kids, we went down in the caravan to down south and spent a solid week just in the caravan, so that was good. Just one sec, guys. There we go. I'm going to flip this around and that can record that way. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, so guys, this is about imposter syndrome in business. Now, I titled it this because basically where this all came about is I'm part of a group, a coaching training, basically. I believe in upskilling. I really do believe in that. And this course isn't cheap, but it's it's always interesting to hear people's different people's insights into business and growing. So I'm part of a group called Imperium Agency, and it's about organic outreach and which is an area that we want to explore and grow next year, not only from ourselves but for our clients. So in this course, and I'm listening to replays because it's in the UK, so they do two live calls a week, and I was listening to the last one, and Charlie Morgan, I don't know if I can tag him in here, but Charlie Morgan who runs the course jumped on, and he was telling me that they were just talking about it. One of the guys on the call was trying to break down why his performance has been lagging lately, and he basically nutted it out to he feels a bit of imposter syndrome. And Charlie, he said it off the cuff, and I don't know if he gave it much thought, but it's a beautiful quote, and it could have been mentioned somewhere else. And I'm grossly butchering this and paraphrasing, but basically the way I interpreted what he was saying is that imposter syndrome is just a sign that you're growing as a business owner. And I thought that's so beautiful, so eloquent, because it's so true. I can't count the amount of times I've had imposter syndrome since starting this agency, and no doubt my team has as well. There's a lot of things that we do that make us uncomfortable, just in the way we do it. We take on very gross and audacious goals, and our team is a very young team relative to the businesses we work with, and experience-wise, it's quite a inexperienced team. Collectively, if you take the experienced people with the less experienced people, we're quite new and to it all. And at the very start, I suffered so much from imposter syndrome, and it affected my performance, not only from a sales perspective but a work perspective. And like Charlie was saying, it was a sign of growth. I found every time I had imposter syndrome was when I was charging more for what I did. And I think we all suffer from this, so I remember it very distinctly when we went from not doing websites to doing websites, and we were charging like $1,500 a site. I felt uncomfortable doing that. And I struggled to sell the concept, because I personally didn't feel like we were worth that much when we were charging it. I knew that we could deliver, but it didn't. I didn't think as a team we were necessarily where we needed to be to comfortably do that. 2 or 3 in, I went, yep, and I just like the horse bolted. I was just selling websites left, right, and center because that imposter syndrome at the start went away as I gained more experience as a business owner and as a building these websites. And then I had the same thing when we went from 1,500 to 4 grand for a website. Same deal. And same from 4 to 6, and same from 6 to 10, which is kind of where we're at now, 10 plus for a site. I had massive imposter syndrome. I never really had it with SEO, but definitely with that. And if I actually think back, a lot of that was like a precursor to a huge phase of growth, for the business, but me as a business owner and a custodian of people that work with us. You know, I really found, now thinking back at that, that's what actually was happening. It's like I was getting, I was having those imposter syndromes as we were building it because I was basically stepping ashore. We were breaking new ground and new territory. And then once we had done that and I was familiar with it, and familiar with the process and everything like that imposter syndrome slowly went away. Because we all suffer it. We all suffer imposter syndrome. I don't care who you are. If you're not feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome, this is my opinion, and I'm just following up from what Charlie's saying. If you're not feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome in what you're doing, then you're not growing as a person or as a business, really, because let's use the premise that Charlie is saying in regards to imposter syndrome, and that it's you feel that when you're uncomfortable because you're growing and you're growing as a person, it's a precursor to that. Well, if you're not feeling imposter syndrome, then you can't possibly be growing and can't possibly be taking yourself out of your comfort zone or exploring or doing things that make you uncomfortable, or punching above your weight, so to speak. You're not punching above your weight if you don't feel that imposter syndrome. And unfortunately, with the way our team works, I'm sure my team feels it all the time. One thing for us is like we're just doing this thing for the gyms group, helping them generate leads. And the interesting thing about that specifically is that from a nuts and bolts perspective, knew how it needed to work. Now, I'd sold it and I was very confident in our ability to do it. But when I passed it on to Cam, who's the operation manager here, I could tell it was out of his comfort zone. I felt I charged a premium for it. I charged what a fair price is to do the work. And in the back of my mind, I felt a little bit of like an imposter syndrome because I was like, yeah, we've really never really done this before, but are we gonna fail? Are we gonna? And then that started creeping in the back of my mind. And then as we pushed through and got it done, I have more confidence in my team than ever before. So yeah, it's just a really interesting insight from Charlie over at Imperium Agency about what imposter syndrome is. And I think the key takeaway from this is next time I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome, I'm going to turn it from a negative into a positive, and in my mind try and reinforce that it's actually a good thing. Feeling imposter syndrome is actually a good thing because it means that you're challenging yourself as a business owner, as a person, as an employee, as a whatever. You're challenging yourself and you're tackling ground that you haven't stepped on before. And and if you're punching above your weight, that's not a bad thing, because if you don't do that, you don't evolve, you don't grow, and you don't change. So I'm super pumped. Thanks so much, Charlie, for bringing that up. It's such a great, eloquent way of saying it. So just for those who missed this before, g'day massive guys, Mighty Overlander. Check it out if you get a chance. The guy, he's blowing up. Tony's blowing up, for lack of a better term. 80,000 people on his reels. Only a few of us can even attempt that. So good on you. But just to reiterate what I was saying, I was watching a training course, call recording replay, like live replay, and Charlie, the owner of this course, which is Imperium Agency, basically said the guy that came on was talking about imposter syndrome. He was trying to articulate his thoughts, and Charlie said, well, and it was an off the hand comment, but it was very appropriate. He basically said that imposter syndrome is something you feel when you're growing as a business owner. Because if you're not growing as a business owner, you're not punching it and punching above your weight. So I thought it was a very timely thing to bring up because we're going to go into a big growth phase now. I feel very comfortable where we are at the moment, but I want to be playing in the bigger space, and it's going to make us very uncomfortable. We're going to be doing stuff and saying things and producing results that we haven't produced before. And that's going to make us, I'm going to be walking through a room of our contemporaries. Actually, it's a very, very, I just want to finish on this. So we have grown, so since 2 years ago, since March 2019, we have gone from just myself to 9 of us in the office. And there are days I walk into this office going, is this all just going to collapse one day? Because I haven't run an agency this big before. I've run businesses this big, but not an agency in the marketing space. Is this all just a facade? Am I just really the right person to be doing this? And that's only happened. I only feel that way because we are growing as business owner. I'm growing as a business owner, and the team's growing, and we're all growing as in the roles that we're in. Cam has been thrown into a very difficult role. Here we go. So Massive just said on Instagram, for those on Facebook, in the social media game where I've been blowing up, like he said, I often feel like I'm just an imposter redoing what others have already done. However, I'm growing as a content creator. 100%. I think that's a very, very good example. Finding my feet in style, the only thing that I can change is the time. And yeah, that is such a good point. Now, for those who don't know, the Mighty Overlander is about Tony's Jimny. Oh, it's about everything now, but it initially was about Tony's Jimny. And we had a conversation about this, I remember very distinctly. We were talking about, he wanted to start a YouTube channel, and, he started it and he started getting a bit of traction. It's easy to feel that imposter syndrome when you're like, oh, well, I don't deserve the following I have. I don't deserve, why are people watching me? I don't deserve it. But actually, in a year from now, you're going to be, when you get to 10,000 people, you're going to be saying the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't deserve to have, to be on the Ronnie Dahl show. I don't deserve to have like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, because you evolve into the status quo. It only feels uncomfortable when it's initially, but then you evolve into it. It's like, this time 6 months ago when we went from 2, Cam and myself, to 6 of us, it was a very uncomfortable phase of growth, because I was like, I'm like, I've really overextended here. Should I be the one running this business? Sure. And then 6 months later, I'm now saying, 6 is a cakewalk. 9 feels uncomfortable. So no doubt I'm going to say the same thing when we go to 12, to 15, to 19, to 30. I'm going to be saying this the whole way around. Ultimately, it's just a sign of growth and a sign of evolution. That's really all it comes down to. So, I think it's worth embracing imposter syndrome, embracing it for what it is. And that's a physical, an emotional manifestation of growth, business, professional, and personal growth. Because, our case is very, but I'm sure everyone feels it. I'm sure Ian Thorpe, like when he was swimming and win those gold medals, I'm sure he felt a hell of a lot of imposter syndrome. Did he train as hard as everyone else? Did he do everything he needed to? Probably did from the outside in, he did, but in his own mind, he probably didn't. Mark jumps on here. Nice idea, concept. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. And medals in the background. Thanks, mate. Look, I'm very proud. I'd served my time, and Tony knows that as well. I did my bit. Did I do it? Again, imposter syndrome. It can all tie back to that. Do I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome because maybe, I was in the Navy, we went on deployment. I wasn't a troop on the ground, but I've got an Afghan campaign medal. Do I feel a bit of an imposter syndrome? Yeah, a little bit. But also, like, when you peel it back, I deserved it as much as anyone else. We were up there away from our families doing what we needed to do. And then massive Tony over at Instagram. In the year's time, if I have 5,000 or even 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, I only feel like I deserve 1,200. I feel I don't deserve now. 100%. That's what it comes down to, is that humans are innately designed to not work outside of the comfort zone, because it's a survival instinct. You don't, when you're a caveman, you don't want to leave the cave because it's you get safety in the cave itself. Humans are designed to work in safety, not work. It's the same, going and sending a proposal out for 50. I felt this especially in agriculture. So I used to work in agriculture, and I was selling machines for $1 million, and I felt uncomfortable doing it because it's like, I'm fully an imposter. I don't know that much about agriculture. How am I qualified to sell someone a machine worth $1 million? But over time, you just build a tolerance to it, and that's what I think it comes from. Is like it's just it's the same as a flight or fight reflex, because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. When you step over that bridge to a thousand subscribers, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know if someone's going to troll you or some scandal's going to pop up that derails it all. And I think ultimately that's what it is. I think it's just ultimately imposter syndrome should be embraced as a sign and celebrated as a sign that you're, as a business owner or as a business or as a person or as someone that does a good job, you're growing and developing as experiences as that person. And ultimately, you will never escape imposter syndrome if you continue to grow and to continue to evolve and upskill and get better. You'll never escape that imposter syndrome. It's just something that you have to live with, and you have to acknowledge, and you can either let it cripple you and sway your decisions, or you can say, actually, I'm going to use this as my bellwether if I'm pushing myself forward instead of staying still. And that's what I'm going to use it for now. When I feel imposter syndrome, when I walk into like a place like Pentanet and get that, because we're not as big an agency as some of the others out there, the next time I do that, because I did feel it with that one. But the next time I do that, I'm going to go, wait a minute. This is just my body's way of telling me that I am propelling this business forward. I'm propelling myself forward as a business owner. And I ultimately, that's all this is just my signpost in the journey saying, yep, this is the right direction to head. So guys, I just wanted to end on that because it's, it was such a great quote, and I wanted to capture this moment as I was thinking about it. So yeah, guys, Charlie Morgan on Facebook, I think on YouTube. If you want to check out his videos, he's got some pretty awesome psychological mindset videos. Another good guy to check out is Alex Hormozi. They both seem to work in the gym space for some reason, but they're all awesome to check out. But guys, if you enjoyed this, I'll jump on next time I hear a quip, because I'm always listening to stuff. If I hear a quip, and I'll give you my interpretation of it, because ultimately it's not based on, I'm not an expert in this space or anything. It's just based on my observations and my experiences. So, that if you guys enjoy that, let me know, and I'll keep doing it. So, all right, thanks once again, guys, and enjoy the rest of your holidays if you're still on it. And get ready for the 10th, because that's when everyone gets back to work and we're all going to have to work hard again. So, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all hopefully tomorrow.